What's up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another edition of Round One Sports TV. I am always your host, Edwin, and we have an amazing show for you here today. Where do all fights start? Round one. And today, we're going to be talking about some of our top Latin fighters today. So join us. If you have any Latin fighters that you have in mind, Mexican, Dominican, Puerto Rican, all Latin, welcome here on my channel. We're going to be talking up some of our top Latin fighters and what it means to be a Latin fighter in boxing. So don't forget to give these videos a like, subscribe to the channel, and like always, let's get right into this video. So, fight fans, how you guys doing out there today? Let me set up real quick, as usual. And we got a little late start here today, but we got it. We got on. Uh, really didn't get everything I wanted done, but we're here. And welcome to Round One Sports Talk. Welcome, chat family. As you get in, let me know that you can hear me loud and clear and that you're tuned in. Give me a thumbs up. So, we have a lot to unfold here at Round One Sports Talk. We are talking about boxing itself, and you can't talk about boxing without Latin boxing. Okay, what the men and women have contributed in all Latin countries to the sport of boxing, and where the sport is headed today. Some of our top Latin stars, and we want to bring eyes to some of the men and women today that are doing it the best. Some young prospects turning contenders, such as Xander Zion, is one of our promising Puerto Rican fighters today. We have today. Young Xander Zion right now seems to be coming up against a matchup. Once again, they're putting him in New York City and Madison Square Garden. What a remarkable place to fight when you think about the rich culture of boxing and you think of the Garden, man, all the legends that fought in Madison Square Garden, the honor just to be in that same ring with like some of the greats, Ali, all of them. I mean, the list goes on of all the fighters that have been in Madison Square Garden, from the Sugar Rays to, the Roberto Durans, and uh, it just the Mike Tyson, it just the I mean, I can't imagine something like that, fighting in the Garden. Oh, that must be something else, and this young man is going back there. He's very familiar with fighting in Madison Square Garden. He fights in, Madison Square Theater Arena, um, in New York City, and, to be on a world stage like that, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, and then get to the Mecca, ah, unbelievable. But Xander Zion is fighting Spooner now coming up, and this is going to be one of his toughest challenges right now, being the fact that he is undefeated, 20-0. Uh, young Xander Zion right now, he has a current record of 20-12, right? He's only 22 years old. He's a very young kid. He has 91 bouts, 60% knockout ratio. He has a 74-inch arm reach, and he's 5'10". He fights at 154 pounds, and he started his career at 145. Okay, so here's a kid that's really coming into his own. He was fighting at 145 would be the 147-pound weight division. So, now currently fighting at 154-pound, where does young Xander Zion stack up among the rest of the 154 pounders we have today? Now, 154-pound is no secret. It has become of late one of the most talked about divisions in boxing. Entering the division, you have the one and only Terrence Crawford, um, arguably one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world, wherever you have him placed. He has to be in the top three, I would believe. And when you have um, boxers such as Sebastian Fedora, the towering inferno, standing at 6'6", and the type of obstacles and challenges a fighter like that can, you know, uh, present to a fighter such as young Xander Zion. Now, although Zion is 22 years old, he's showing signs of a very promising fighter. For only being 22 years of age, I believe he's coming along exceptionally well. I think he's further along than most 22-year-old kids. I would have to say yes. Um, so where does he stack? I think Xander Zion truly has a puncher's chance, just like any other boxer in that division, because as far as skills, I believe he holds his own. With every fight and in every boxer, you can stand to learn more. Xander Zion is going to be coming in this fight with Spooner, and I believe that um, this will be one of his moments where that he wins this, and I believe from here on in will be talks about world title fights in his future. Um, I hope that the young man is ready at 154 pounds, because there's more than enough opportunity there, but there's not a lot of space. There's a lot of men that are trying to solidify their spot at the 154, and there are men that are returning, such as Jamel Charlo, the former 154 undisputed champion of the world. He wants his belts back. We're going to see how he enters the division. Errol Spence Jr. is another fight that he is in the 154-pound weight division, and he's trying to launch his comeback. So there are a lot of fighters at 154 pounds that young Xander Zion could, fare up against. And time will tell. But I believe that, you know, I wanted him to fight one or two more fights. Um, Xander Zion, I wanted him to fight at least one or two more fights before he started fighting some of these world champions. I just definitively needed to know that he was ready. Uh, I like what I saw in his last fight. I believe that he went in for the kill. He got caught with some good big shots. He wore them well, and I saw a little bit where that some things he can work on. Like I said, there's not a fighter in the world that can't work on need things to be worked on. Okay, so I wanted to see him again. Wanted to see him against a little bit more competition. And so what they did exactly that. So look, Spooner's 20 wins with 11 knockouts, right? This is young Xander Zion's opponent. He's a German, right? He has 117 boxing round experience. Okay. He has a 55% knockout ratio, right? And he's 5'10. He's 32 years of age, right? And I'm not sure. Let me see right now. I'm gonna check right now. There's one thing I gotta look at, because when I looked at Zion's record, I noticed he doesn't have any 12 round experience. The toughest he's gone are 10 rounds. And this fight right here, in fact, is scheduled for 10 rounds. And in that regards, that's one of the things why I'm not 100% ready or sure that he's ready for the world championships, because he lacks uh championship 12 round experience. And that's what I would like young Xander Zion to go after. Start feeling comfortable in a 12 round fight. Start learning how to go into deep waters. Once you pass the ninth round, the 10th round, you got 3 more rounds to go, and things like that. That's a whole different ball game. had, like, for instance, um, Jermaine Ortiz and Lomachenko fight been scheduled a 10-round fight, Jermaine beats him. Those extra 2 rounds that Loma put in on that fight because he knew young Puerto Rican, Dominican fighter Jermaine Ortiz did not have was championship experience. And I believe Loma won that fight in the end because of the last 2 rounds, in which, in fact, it was weird to me that that fight was 12-round fight. When it won, it wasn't a title eliminator, and it wasn't for a belt. Why did they insist on 12 rounds? Because they knew he didn't have 12-round fighting um, experience, Loma. And Loma did. And that's where he would beat the much younger, faster fighter. And he did so. So these are some of the things that um, I still ask myself about the young man. 12-round experience is key. I believe that without it, you know, without it, the other fighter can definitely take advantage. What's up, guys? I just pulled you guys up. How you guys doing in the building? Salute to everyone that just joined the live stream. How you guys doing? Give a big round to you guys in the building. Latin boxing. Let's keep it going here at Round One Sports Talk. If you're just joining us or tuning in, we are talking about some of the top Latin fighters we have in the sport of boxing. If you have any fighters you would like to come and talk about, please feel free. Drop it in the comments. I will be dropping the link. I would like the panel to come up and we could talk Latin boxing today on Round One Sports Talk Latin Wednesdays. Okay. So, because we got to give these fighters some of their loving and flowers and credit. And like I said, we cannot talk about boxing without Latin fighters. Okay. And there's enough channels out there promoting all the other fighters as well. And here around One Sports Talk, we're also gonna be having I was gonna think about a Naoya Inoue day, but in Round One Sports Talk, Naoya Inoue has every day. You know what I mean? He is just something else. He is one of my favorite fighters, and we talk about him enough, but this is Latin Wednesdays. So how you guys doing out there today? Top Puerto Rican fighters today is Oscar Collazo. Absolutely. Absolutely. We were just finishing up with Xander Zion, and Oscar Collazo is next. We're going to be talking about him. So as I was saying and breaking down in my breakdown with Xander Zion, let me continue on reading some of your comments though, because we are going to be matter of fact, let me put up. Where's the chat? Here. Overlay. What's going on? No new chat. I was gonna throw them up here, and for some reason, today the system wants to act up. As you guys can see, now I have no chats in the this is just great. This is how it wants to play with today. This is okay. We're playing games today. Okay, YouTube. All right. Anyway, so I got you guys over here. I can see you over here. I just wanted to put them up on the screen, and unfortunately, I can't. So, Puerto Rican Rum says, top Puerto Rican boxers today, Oscar Collazo. Yes, I think the top Dominican boxer is Edwin De Los Santos. Well, Bronco, I think, is one of the top Dominican fighters. Yandel, well, we're going to be getting into the Dominican boxing in a second because I want to talk about Dominican boxing and Mexican boxing as well. So we're gonna stay on track right here. But yes, Spanish Rum. Remind me in a moment. Another Mexican, Bam Rodriguez. Oh my God, what a fighter! What a great fighter right there, Bam Rodriguez. Electrifying. That guy right there. Him, Chocolito. I mean, we're all over the place here. We got so much to break down. You see, this is exciting. You know what I mean? This is exciting right here because you start to break down all these fighters and you realize, man, Latin boxing is really rich in the sport. It is really rich, and there are a lot of amazing boxers we can talk about. So, as I was saying, Xander Zion right now, you know, being one of the prospects, turning into contenders, being well placed on the sanctioning bodies right now. And I have a lot of high hopes for the young man. Um, Definitely, Spooner, obviously, being a worthy opponent. Okay. Spooner is undefeated. So he's coming off um a massive, right? Three TKO streak. Spooner coming into this fight, right? He knocked out it was two German fighters and a Colombian fighter. Yeah. So he's coming on a three knock TKO stoppage coming into the Xander Zion fight. So this is going to be a big challenge for young Xander Zion. Let's see how he does. Um, you know, I believe he's ready 100%. And that'll be on the 14th, February 14th. So that's a big fight to look forward to. Another Latin Puerto Rican fighter, as my man Puerto Rican Rum alluded to, Oscar Collazo. Oscar Collazo is right now, currently, Puerto Rico's best champion. Why? I understand he's all the way down there in the Pesa Moca division, the lightest weight division we possibly have. I believe it's 105, right? But he is a fighter. And he's fighting against the guys his own size. So there's no disadvantage or weight bullying down there, right? If you're a weight bully in that in that division, God bless you, right? If you could do that, right? Oscar Collazo, the reason why he is the best Puerto Rican champion today is because he is a unified world champion. He currently has today 2 world titles, and that makes him the strongest. Maybe not the most popular. And in today's area where that social media really rules and having a big social media following can really do something for your career um, and exposure. That's why I'm talking about these fighters. One of the other fighters that we have that is more known is Subriel Matias. Subriel Matias is a Puerto Rican fighter, and for my, I was gonna Subriel Matias. Something just dawned on me right now about him, right? And trying to break down explaining who Subriel is. Well, I don't think he needs any introduction. He's most famously known for being the boogeyman at 140 pounds. He terrorized that weight division before securing the IBF. But in Puerto Rico, he lost the IBF title to Australian fighter Liam Paro. Liam Paro just recently lost the title. He won the belt, had it for like a little over 2 months, went back to Puerto Rico and lost it to the American fighter Richard Hitchin. Now, Subriel Matias is no secret. He's been on YouTube channels talking about his vision is to go back after his belt. His goal is to get his belt back. And I try to tell you guys this about Subriel Matias, and I knew it because I knew that caliber of man. I've seen his caliber of fighter before. And the one thing I said that I knew definitely about Subriel, he was going to run it back with Liam Paro because he's not that type of dude that shies away from the smoke. Like some fighters lose and don't want to get the get back. Saul and Demetrius Bivol. Saul lost to Demetrius Bivol at 175. Demetrius Bivol said, I'll fight you at 168. Saul said no. He didn't want no more. He was good. Not fighters like Subriel. Subriel was the type of fighter that if you beat him, he'll be back. He'll be right back. The one thing I like about Subriel Matias and his last interview, they got him like locked up, boarded up in this house. And what his team is doing speaks louder than words. When you love your fighter, you back your fighter. When you tell someone to do something or you ask someone to do something, don't ask them to do something you wouldn't do. Not only is Subriel locked in that house, but his team is locked in there with him. They're also sacrificing themselves and their families to show Subriel, we're here with you. To lock you in from all the outside world distractions so that you can stay focused on your fight and your quest to get back to world championship. That's love. Your team is not talking about it, they're being about it. And that's Latin love right there. They didn't just send him somewhere and said, work it out. Lock yourself in there and you work it out. Every time we leave, we're going to leave you alone in the house. We're going to go back to our house. No. They said, we're here with you. Every step of the way. We believe in you. We're backing you as our fighter. Now that's called backing your fighter up. That's love right there. I'm not sure if anybody else caught on to that rather than just taking what was at face value, the interview and everything that was said, which is mostly common. But look at the broader picture and what they're doing for their fighter. Have a different set of lenses. And I can see when your team is behind you. Latin boxing. And Subriel Matias is showing the Puerto Rican fans that he's for real. He's 32 years of age. Father Time is undefeated. So time is not on his side. There are no time to waste or to play around. Teofimo Lopez, another Latin fighter. I mean, I guess he's Latin when he wants to use it. I saw Teofimo Lopez today, in fact, speaking Spanglish on a YouTube video, talking about he ain't gonna have sexo and all this other stuff and that he's focused for his son. I get it, Tio. The Latin community is not supporting you right now, but that's only due in part to you in your comments. So you did this to yourself. And now what he's trying to do is diffuse it. Now, in boxing, when we don't have so many Latin stars as it is, and our neighboring cousins, Dominican Republic, you know, you got a lot of their fighters coming out right now, and really, let me stay with the chat because I didn't even have it pulled up. But you have a lot of boxers that are coming out, and we have to support our Latin fighters. Dominican, Mexican, Ecuadorian, you know, Colombian, uh, uh, Panama, you name it. And in my house, if you are a Latin fighter fighting for a world title, we got behind you until we fought against each other. Then the house was divided, right? But Mexico Puerto Rico rivalry is so rich in the culture of boxing, you couldn't talk boxing without it. Some of the top Mexican boxers we have today, Saul Canelo Alvarez being the top dog. He's probably their best Mexican star. And with every, you know, uh, Mexican contender coming up and trying to solidify himself as the next Mexican star, as you can see, Jaime Munguia kind of took a step backwards, maybe three, in the quest of being one of Mexico's top Mexican fighters. As you can see, Oscar Navarrete, they went at it, and all the Mexican legends were in attendance. And it's beautiful when you have your country backing you. You know, you have a man such as Saul Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez and Oscar De La Hoya in attendance to your fight. I mean, that's saying a lot for you as a Mexican fighter. When you got those kind of men sitting there, Julio Cesar Chavez has got to be by far one of, if not the best Mexican legend they have. Salvador Sanchez, arguably, unfortunately, since he passed away, I mean, I would have loved to see where he would have ended up, right? He was amazing. He was truly amazing. That was a boxer that was ahead of his time. He understood things back then. We're starting to really understand now. Some more than others, and more of some gyms are more further along than other gyms, but Salvador Sanchez, he was truly ahead of his time. He was making boxing look so simple that you thought, man, I could beat him. He's not really doing anything impressive. No, his timing, placement, and fundamentals of understanding if you go this way, it was off the chart. If you don't have anything to do, please, I encourage you to watch if arguably one of the best fighters. He had a short career. You're gonna find that out. But Salvador Sanchez is worth looking into as a fighter. His fighting style, his approach, everything. Wilfredo Benitez, Wilfredo Gomez, Sesto, Carlos, um, Estrada, a lot of our champions, um, like I would say, like Miguel Cotto and Felix Trinidad are the most popular. I don't really, and okay, Miguel Cotto is probably the most accomplished with 4 divisions, right? Um, is it 4 or 3? I think he has 4. Yeah, Miguel Cotto has 4 divisions, right? Um, and as far as popularity goes, like, all right, there's a different standard when it comes to Latin fighters in that regard. There are some that did more for us, but not well known. There are some that did a little bit less, but very known. Hector Camacho was a fighter of Puerto Rico, and he was known for his speed, his slick style, crafty, savvy fighter. But he also knew how to put on a show. He was a performer. Camacho understood what it was like to wow the audience, and he brought that electrifying atmosphere to a fight. Whenever you went to a Hector Camacho fight and he walked out, you knew he was in the building. He was loud, flamboyant, he was boisterous, he was everything and a fighter on top of it. Camacho, was criticized for not taking the sport so serious, and a lot of the outside world distractions played a part in his career, like a lot of our fighters. Which brings me to where Subriel is at. A lot of outside distractions. They lock him in this house. Why? Stay focused. Stay the course. We're staying with you. No late night drinking, smoking weed, going out, hanging with the homies, and it's hard to put down old behaviors. We as fighters, we have the responsibility of putting our country, our nation on our back, but they don't understand we're also going through shit. We're fighting our own demons inside as fighters because we're not perfect. And some of us have bad habits, and we can let our fans down because we're not perfect. So by ourselves, I don't think we do this. But with a team coming together as one, you can do it. And that's how we can come together in our Latin community here at Round One Sports Talk Wednesdays. We're going to be coming up here and really sharing all our opinions on our Latin fighters. Let me hit the panel right now. and talk boxing with you guys. Frontline, Bam Bam Armando in the building, guys. How you guys doing? Let me not too sure, guys. How am I gonna do this today? I'm gonna try it. This is gonna be a problem. Okay. Bam, like Bam Bam Boogie says. Not a problem at all. Yeah. Even though I dragged it over to here. Cool. Drop the link in the chat. If the panel wants to come up and share and can start helping me out and reading and breaking out some of these messages here. Let me see here. Puerto Rican Rum is saying here, one of my favorite Puerto Rican champions that no one talks about is Wilfredo Vasquez. Senior. Okay, now, very epic fighter right there. What are you talking about? He's like one of the best. Well, I guess it depends what boxing circles you're in, because in my boxing circles, they talk about him a lot. Maybe not in certain. Yeah, you're probably right. I could see where. Okay, all right. I guess it depends who you're around, and who you're talking with. There are a lot of channels, mostly American, Black African American channels that talk about a lot of their fighters and their legends and stuff. And I don't hear them bring him up at all there. In those regards, yeah. But if we were talking probably in a Latin setting, he's revered. Make no mistake, we know who he is. Spanish Rum, and you know who he is. Thank you for bringing him up, because that's how we do here at Round One Sports Talk. Whenever we have an opportunity, we bring up our guys. You know what I'm saying? And that is one of our guys right there, Wilfredo. That is definitely in our top, as Latin fighters. Absolutely. So yeah, let's see who else. Read the chat, Edwin. Okay, Armando. One of my favorite. Okay, okay. Edwin. Gano is in the chat. Gano is in the chat. Where's Gano at? Oh, Gano TV. What's up, brother? How you doing? In the building. Thank you for joining us here at Round One Sports Talk. How you doing, brother? Sorry for a little bit of technical difficulties. I can't throw the chats up. I don't know what's going on with my restream today, but yes, my brother's here. Chat family, talk to me about you. I would like to talk to you. Frontline, my man said he'll give you my number. Feel free to give me a call. We could always talk boxing. I would appreciate, yeah, talking more and interacting and networking with my fellow brothers in the sport of boxing that we love, and covering this sport any angle, and people that are passionate like me, that want to spread the sport and keep it alive and find ways to bring our fighters to the public, and always keeps our fighters' names irrelevant with all active fighters. That's what I strive to do. That's what I aim to do here at Round One Sports Talk. You know that my channel, we are not biased here. One of the greatest fighters I talk about is Naoya Inoue, the Japanese fighter. And when you're a good fighter, you need to get your just dues. So Latin fighters right now are some of the best fighters we have in the sport. um, I feel that we would be doing a disservice to boxing without talking about our Latin brethren. So here at Round One Sports Talk, we aim to do exactly that. Carlos, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the support. Carlos says, what's that? Puerto Rican rum salute. It's been a while. Good to see you. Okay. Bam, salute, bro. This is new channel on YouTube. Fairly new, fairly new. Been around a little while, you know. Super Matias is going to get ducked until he's 50. Yeah, guys. A lot of these fighters right now, you know, and they're in unique situations, but not no more than your, you know, your average situations in boxing that can be sorted out. I mean, what happened with Super Matias and Teofimo Lopez? They went into negotiation in October. Here we are now. You seen Tio's interview. Subier's not worthy. That's when you know Teofimo Lopez is officially ducking somebody. Whenever you hear an interview with Teofimo Lopez, I had alluded and hinted jokingly to Armando the other day. If you were to go back and you look at all Teofimo Lopez's interviews where he didn't want to fight an opponent, look at his approach of what his description was to about that fighter or why he didn't want to fight him. Bro, it every time. Arnold Barboza, he did that too. He every single time the smoke was at Tio's doorstep, that it was a worthy opponent, he somehow found a way to say they weren't worthy of fighting him. I didn't know that boxing was judged by being worthy on a standard by Teofimo Lopez's standards. I thought boxing was just two guys boxing and fighting. What does it have to do with ticket sales or undefeated records or who have you fought? I'm trying to fight you. All these excuses, you hear them from some of these fighters, but you can blatantly see that Teofimo Lopez situation, the way let's break it down real quick. Tio says in the interview, if he fights a world champion, they'll give him a 5-fight extension on Top Rank. Follow me. But by doing so, he would be obligated to them for 5 fights. Teofimo Lopez expressed how he wants out of his contract with Top Rank. He doesn't feel like they're promoting him to his best interest, and he's not being paid what he feels he's worth. And who am I to tell a man their value? So I'm in agreement with you, Tio, all the way up until that point. And then he loses me. He turns around and says, well, I don't want to fight Subriel, right? Because it's not a worthy opponent. It's only for the most money I've ever made, times the most money I've ever made, right? And then on top of it, I see you here in the background. Who's that?
Cano Local TV.
What's up, Cano Local TV? How you doing? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. I got up out of my bed because they told me to get up out of my bed. I was in my bed actually, but I actually texted you already earlier, man.
Yeah? You what? Yeah. When? You came on earlier?
Nah, I texted you earlier, man.
Oh, you did. Oh, you texted me earlier. My bad. You glitched out there. I didn't hear the line. Yes, you did.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go.
All right. Listen, brother, look at me. Look at me. Look how far behind I am in my everyday life. Look at all the messages. Look.
It's all good, bro.
You know what I'm saying, brother? So it's not like I was annoyed. So how you doing? Welcome to the show. Let's talk boxing, man. What's on your mind? Talk to me.
Nah, man. I mean, I'm cool, man. But I just wanted to kind of talk with you a minute and stuff like that. I know we're gonna talk a little bit more behind the scenes, but you know, I do agree with the. I know a lot of your chat. Bang Bang Boogie was an old friend of mine. Arnaldo Nieves, Puerto Rican Rum, Frontline, obviously. You know, they was on the old channel, but YouTube took my other channel, so I had to start over. But that's another story, man. That's another story for another day. But yeah, I just don't like Tio, bro.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's break this down. You know, the situation with Teofimo Lopez, I was just talking about it, and I was saying, on one hand, my man's talking about He doesn't want the fight deal with Top Rank, and on the other hand, he's talking about he wants out. But and then he says he wants to fight Richard Hitchison. If you fight Richard Hitchison, that's for a world title. That locks you into 5 fights. Why are you talking in riddles? That's when you can see bullshit. When Tio starts to put his foot in his mouth, and you can see what do you feel about that?
He's all talk. Like I've always said, I've said this a long time ago. And you know what's sad about it is I used to support him for the longest until a little bit right after he beat Lomachenko. Then he started changing up and acting weird and, you know, getting racial and talking bad about. They even talked bad about us Puerto Ricans, talking about we easy to beat and all this other stuff. You know?
No, we're easy. We're easy to beat. We're easy to beat. But when the smoke is to your doorstep, those were big words. Why don't you show us? Subriel was right there. Negotiations was right there. Why don't you back up what you said? Why don't you show us in the ring?
And it was going to be his highest payday, according to Bob Arum.
Yep.
He was offered the most money he's ever made to fight Subriel Matias.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to make that same money with Richardson Hitchings, and he's going to lock himself in. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now, because this is what I believe. You know, he's scared of Subriel. That's one. I don't care. I know they say, oh, fighters ain't scared. Fighters are scared. Baloney. Yeah. Man. Certain fighters do fear losing to certain people. Yeah. You know, they may not be afraid to fight, but they're afraid of the results.
Right.
You know, and I think he sees that he's gonna have to eat his words. Oh, they're easy to beat, but Subriel's right there. I don't think he feels that he can beat Subriel. He can say what he wants.
Cano, listen, these guys can talk all they want, but let's not forget, before Subriel lost his belt, he was considered no Matias. He stopped 5 undefeated fighters in a row. He made them all quit. You know, I don't want to bring this up with Mad Max Dervichek because he has a family, but let's not forget what happened on a fatal night with Subriel in the ring and what he has the capability of doing to fighters as the fight goes longer with those bludgeoning shots. I mean, they must like echo in a guy's head the way he's just, you know, he doesn't have like that one punch knockout, but he's like a blunger. He like blunts his opponent, you know, and like he really like, so he was considered the boogeyman at 140, which he is today. You can't be considered the boogeyman once you get the belt, but now that he doesn't have one, he's back where he, you know, and he's a high risk, low reward because he doesn't have a belt, but he is obviously a star. Can I ask you something, Cano?
Go for it.
When are we going to go back to the day where the men on your names on your records mattered versus the O? It seems like these fighters want to protect the O more than the names on your record. Remember back in the day when you looked at Marvis Hagler's record or Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, there was just a list of legendary Hall of Fame fighters. And now if you was to take Gervonta Davis's record and you went like this, you'd go, who? And at 135 pounds, he has 5 fights. He hasn't fought one world champion yet, right? And my concern is we should not be focused so much on these risks and taking the opportunity on losing, but sharing the ring with Subriel Matias, Teofimo Lopez, the fighters of our era, that you can say, look, I shared the ring with him, win, lose, or draw. He's on my record. You know, all these fights, you know, I look at Tank Davis and I'm like, yo, you know how many names? You could have had Devin Haney on your record. You could have had Tio on your record, Loma. Instead, you got a bunch of fucking names that, like, you know, this thing with Mayweather, yo, he's one of my favorite fighters, and I feel like he did a lot for the sport, but he also hurt the sport by introducing the O. We came into an era where the Shakur Stevensons of the world believe that it's better to stay undefeated than to take chances and to share the ring with the men in your era. And I think we need to go back when names mattered more. What do you think about that, Carlos? Amancano?
I completely agree, man. And I had a sit down with Nate Campbell. Actually, I did I did a sit down with Nate Campbell. I actually uploaded parts of it on my YouTube channel, man, where we was talking about all kind of things like that. And you know, when he talked about that it was the Mayweather effect. He really does feel that way, and he was fighting in that area, and he was telling me a lot of things that weren't a lot of the public weren't privy to. Like he's like, yeah, Mayweather did this, Mayweather did that, but what they don't understand is that certain fighters were picked at a certain time, and like what was his name? He was talking about Diego Corrales. He only took the fight so he can leave that money for his family because he was going to turn himself in to prison the next day. And so Mayweather always has some kind of like little advantage going into these fights, and even though it's the Mayweather effect and that's what ruined the sport in a way, Mayweather's always not as strong after hearing people from that era that was in the sport of boxing fighting would let me know a lot of these things. I know people from that gym, that was in that gym, in the Mayweather gym, that they gave me stories about how Mayweather will push an envelope under the desk for certain things, and I'm not going to get into details, but a lot of his stuff has asterisks on it to me after learning all of that stuff. And when I say that, even though Mayweather ruined it with that old thing, I also blame the boxers now because they should not let something like that influence their career. Right. They should be able to go in there and just go for it. And like this Benavidez and Morrell, that fight right there is a great fight. They may end up doing a trilogy.
Yeah, they might be each other's rival, nemesis. It might be coming. Yeah, that could be big.
So that's the kind of stuff that they need to look at, because I remember the drama of watching a rematch, the drama of watching a trilogy. You know what I'm saying? Right. You don't get that kind of drama no more, man. And to me, that sells more than what these folks are doing now. Right. We love to watch them fights that they're gonna run it back, especially when it was a lot of action in it, man. You know, like Beterbiev and Bivol about to do a rematch now.
Listen, that I commend them, and they did it so fast. It was like what you say. There's controversy. Let's run it back. There wasn't no waiting 2 years, 18 months. There wasn't none of that. They ran it back. I admire that because, when we talk about some of these guys, the best at the top, you could walk around beating your chest, claiming to be the best, but if you're gonna be a king, you need to do king shit. You need to conquer divisions. You need to conquer your division. And in an era where it's been more common that guys are fighting guys from up weight, bringing them up from weight, where are we losing ourselves in boxing? Tank Davis is bringing this guy up from 130. He's going to fight him. Saul's bringing this guy up, moving up to this weight. This guy fight. Everybody's fighting everybody, but not in their own division. Where are we going wrong in the sport of boxing, Cano?
And that's why I love Subriel Matias, because I don't give a damn that he's got them 2 losses. He avenged one of them, and you notice how Paro was not in no rush to give him no rematch. We know what's going to happen in that rematch. We know.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen because I was speaking about this. Subriel's the type of man that if you beat him, he's going to fight you again. And I just knew that 100%. I saw Subriel's interview where he stated, I will first go after the IBF. I will get the IBF, and I'm letting the fight fans know I'm giving Liam Paro another shot at that belt because I want my get back. He's going after the belt, and he's going after Liam Paro. That's a fighter right there. Now that's a fighter.
I remember when his first loss, man, and I'm not in like the best talking terms with Subriel right now, but I do got his phone number. We used to talk a lot, okay?
Yeah.
And after his first loss, I remember telling his team, bro, get me that rematch, bro. If I don't perform, I retire. If I don't beat his ass, I'm retiring.
Right.
Put me back in there.
He stopped him. He made him quit.
Yes. Yes. That's what's missing in the game. We have
Right.
some people like that in the game now. We're just not paying attention to them enough.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right. Right. And I think that, you know, in an era of social media where a Ryan Garcia can get so much, you know, spotlight, but it really isn't based off his skills, you know, and it could be misleading. And then you could see a more skilled guy that's not so, it doesn't have the it factor, but should be talked about. You know, and you know, we're in a really unique era in boxing. I have to admit, you know, I'm a little older. I'm 50 myself, so you know, I come back from the Hector Camacho era. You know what I mean? And Mike Tyson, and you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I had a pager, and if you wanted to get a hold of me, unless you dial 911, I wasn't going to a payphone. All right, so so I like to evolve with change with boxing, and I like to talk about change and also to implement things into the sport. One of the things that I was bringing up on my channel was whenever I go out to a football game, basketball game, baseball game, I can walk in late. As long as I can look up and look at the scoreboard, I knew exactly what was going on. I feel that in the sport of boxing, the one thing that is missing is a scoreboard. In between rounds, they should let us know what's going on in the fight and who's winning in the fight. And then people say, no, because you'll take away the suspense. I said, when has an unofficial scorecard ever took away the suspense for you and you didn't stick around for the ending? Because we have unofficial scorecards since boxing's been around. And you know how many people that believe the unofficial scorecard was a real scorecard this whole time? No one explained it to them, right? So
Nobody's leaving. Nobody's leaving. You're right. I remember Abelito Ramos, Abel Ramos. I remember he was in a fight, man, where he was losing every damn. He was so far behind on the cards, and with 2 seconds left in the fight, he got out.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You can't just count somebody out because he's behind. Yeah, all it takes is one shot.
Well, it just asked Mildred Taylor against Julio Cesar Chavez in the last round with 2 seconds left in the fight.
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow, that was a memorable moment. But yeah, man.
I'm not a spring chicken either. I'm 54.
Okay. See, at least we talking to, you know, I'm talking to someone that it's been around a little bit, got a little bit of sense. Because some of these young boys just want to come on a channel, and when they don't got nothing else to say, they just start swearing, cursing you out, and then blocking you because they have no more logic. And whenever a man needs to raise his voice, I see that he's lost control. He's no longer thinking. And I like to have a conversation. I'm quite of a conversationalist myself, and I enjoy boxing. And I always enjoy talking boxing, chopping it up with fans and people that know what they're talking about. This Subir Matias situation is very, very interesting. But what else do you think about some of these top fighters like Oscar Collazo and Xander Zion? Where do you see them and some of the do you see any of the Dominican fighters? Talk about it. This is Latin Wednesdays.
I think Oscar Collazo should definitely be considered as a pound for pound fighter. Point blank, period. That talent is just there. You know, when he's look, I'm gonna put it like this because he doesn't have that many fights, right?
Yep.
I remember when they put Lomachenko on a pedestal after a couple of fights. Why can't we do that for Oscar Collazo? Why not? He's accomplished big things as well. And to me, he's more deserving of it than what Lomachenko was, you know?
Right. Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, you know Loma with the 2 gold medals and everything. In fact, I think that's trash because I think 1 gold medal was sufficient. Why are you going after 2? I think that his father was the type of dad that didn't want to let his son go. You know, he was like, you know, he kept them like, you know, babying him. No, stay another 4 years in a gold medal, like a gold medal. It's just ridiculous. He came into the sport. You know, look at Lomachenko. He has 18 fights and he's talking about retirement. With 18 fights, you should be talking about coming up to your first potential world title fight. He's talking about retiring in 18 fights.
Right.
That's how late he came into the game, you know?
I've never been big on Lomachenko. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people crucify me for it, but I just been in too many gyms, too many fights, too many situations. And when I see a Lomachenko, I always said, you take away that movement and it's over for him. Which is what Tio did in the first fight.
Exactly what Tio did.
And it's done, you know? And I'm not the only one who says that. A lot of professionals say the same thing.
Now, I criticize Loma for having an amateur guard.
Yeah.
He has a surefire amateur guard. His elbows are pointed like this, like in an amateur setting, like that. Like he doesn't know how to bring him in. That's why Devin Haney tortured his body in that fight. You know, he got to him so easy.
Which brings me to my next point, where you're talking about the amateurs and why I don't care about all that gold medal shit. Because I seen people like, well, you probably know him because if you follow the sport, Wilfredo Bimbito Mendez.
Yes.
Former WBO champion, right?
Yes.
Trash record as an amateur. Trash. But you know why? I'll explain this again for the people in the back. He was a professional style fighter. It did not fit in good for amateur to win these fights on points. So it was easy for him to just get his game up as an amateur, even though he was getting, a lot of losses, but he was preparing himself for that run as a professional. Another one that's coming up right now that I know a lot of people have seen on my channel, Keith Tsunami Colon. He didn't have a great amateur record.
Right.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, that boy is going to be a champion.
His style is more suited for the pros, where that is a more amateur style. Yeah, and I try to say this a lot on my channel too. Good point, because amateur career usually consists of a lot of offense. In the pros, you got what we call a feeling out process. You're making reads. It's a different fight entirely. So when they talk about, oh, he's got 300 amateur fights, blah blah blah, I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, you guys do realize that's 3 rounds with headgear, right? It's 3 rounds with headgear. And you're comparing that to professional fighters, so. And then look at for example, my man, Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue is possibly one of the greatest fighters we have in our era. He's a generational talent, right? And can you believe that Japan said he wasn't good enough to make the Olympic team?
I think, man,
he never made the Olympic team though. But look at how he's been as a pro. Whether what you believe him or not, look at his accomplishments as a pro. And he was definitely pro material, but somehow he wasn't a good amateur, is what they're saying.
Now, I get what you're saying. I'll probably reserve my thoughts on it Inoue, man, for, but.
Nah, brother, listen, you don't got to hold back for me. I like the man, but I also take constructive criticism. Let me share with us what you think about why.
Okay, this is my issue,
Okay.
It's the unknown, okay? I don't want to put a jacket. Let me put a disclaimer out there, because I know a lot of people jump the gun quick before listening to the complete argument, okay?
Everybody out there, we want to listen to the complete argument, guys. Don't judge this man like he said. Let him talk. Go ahead.
It's the unknown for me. And what do I mean by the unknown, right? Is that they allow him to wrap his hands a certain way in Japan. They don't drug test him in Japan. And then I'm thinking to myself, is he clean or is he not? Is this legit or is it not? If he fights over here in the States with a different set of circumstances, with the wraps done this way over here, and was, official random drug testing over here, that's what I need to see to tell me, okay, this dude is the real deal.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But unknown, and I'm not saying he is, and I'm not saying he's not. It's just an unknown for me, so I still have to have that question mark in my mind.
Right. I was once there where you're at right now, so I went down the rabbit's hole. I had to go do my own research. I quickly found out what I already kind of knew in the sport of boxing, that every athletic committee in every country and city does not abide by the same rules. If you fight
Right.
in California versus New York, they have different wrapping systems.
Correct.
Japan uses tape on skin. In New York, that's against the law. It's gauze first, then tape. And
Correct.
in Las Vegas, Mayweather made it famous for tape on skin. You can fight in Las Vegas with the Japanese rules. Those are the rules in Vegas, the same rules. Now, what happened in the Stephen Kubo Fulton fight with Naoya Inoue when he was criticized for loaded hand wraps, and Stephen Kubo Fulton's coach basically called Japan's hero like a fraud in front of the whole world. Naoya Inoue, which told him, come into my locker room, tell your assistant coach to wrap my hands the way you want. They did that, signed off in his hands, and he brutalized Stephen Kubo Fulton like that. So he did it
Respect.
just like that. When it comes to the steroid testing thing, I looked at that. Vada went to his house at like 3 in the morning, knocked on his kids. At the time, he had 2 infant kids, and they woke the kids up, and they just got the baby to sleep. It was 4 months old, little Japanese baby. So he was pissed. He's like, "Yo, you don't
Okay.
think you could do this in the morning?" So the media kind of took that and like spun with it. So what I did was I went to Vada Wada in every testing that Naoya Inoue, in every fight that he's been on, fighting from HBO. He's passed every test. He's never failed a drug test, nothing. All 7 tests leading into Stephen Kubo Fulton were passed. I looked that up myself. And then what I did was my due diligence. I said, okay, is this guy cracking hard all of a sudden? Or if this is something that's been going on. So I went to his amateur tape where that the coach criticized him for having loaded hand wraps, and in the ring they took off his glove and the wraps, and the coach hugged him and said, "You have God-given strength because like this is like this." So he was doing that from then. 24 consecutive world champion fights in a row. No human being has ever done that. He unified 2 weight divisions in 1 calendar year. He got 8 belts in 1 year. Fuck 6 months. You know how he unified the 2 and 122 for 6 months? Well, if you add all 4, he did that within 1 calendar year. He really stepped up. So I got to give him his credit for what he's doing because, every fighter can come up with controversy. You know what they said about my legend Floyd? You know what they say about him? You know what they say about my legend Ali? Every fighter got controversy, but if he's never failed a drug test, if you can't beat him, if what he's doing is so easy, why isn't anybody else doing it? And he's fought 15 world champion. He's knocked out 11. Like I'm saying to myself, I had to do my homework on homeboy because sometimes when shit is too good to be true, you got to look it up. So
Fair.
it's
Fair.
kind of what I did. It's kind of what I did. Yeah.
Fair.
He's
That's
he's
fair.
he's
Hey,
interesting. He's interesting. He's an anomaly. He's definitely an anomaly. We could talk about him some other time, but like right now, the Latin fighters and stuff. And
yeah.
let me ask you a question. Let's talk about the biggest Latin fighter, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Do you like that fight?
Yes.
Hey, Diablo, let's talk about it.
I do. I do not believe Terence Crawford is actually going to win this fight.
Really?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Wow.
Hey, listen, man. I'm telling you right now, Crawford is still sharp for his age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I went back and looked at tape, and I'm like, if Floyd Mayweather could school him like that for 12 rounds and doesn't have the same power as Bud Crawford does, and Mayweather was actually the smaller fighter in that fight as well, what makes you think that Bud Crawford, who's got a little bit more pop, can't do the same thing to Canelo, if not worse?
What makes me think that is that the fight is rigged. It's stacked against Terence Crawford, my American champion. I feel like the Mexicans want to get back to my guy because of what Floyd did to him. They have a chance of defeating my guy and not letting him ride off into the sunset without his O. So let me talk about the disadvantages. This is not a fair fight at no point. Terrence Crawford would be going up what we saw Jamel Charlo do from 154 to 168, two weight divisions. That's all on Saul's favor. Terrence Crawford will be 38 years old when he enters the ring. Saul will be all of 34. The age is on his favor. Everything in this fight, all the odds, everything is on Saul's side. There isn't one thing that I can, because my last information that I have is Terrence Crawford at 154 against Ishmael, and he only had 10 fights, and I saw that his power didn't translate from 140 to 154, where he couldn't even move Ishmael. He had to actually box him. So when I saw that if his power didn't translate from 147 to 154, what makes me think that it's going to travel two more mysterious weight divisions and go up? When I saw Jamel Charlo do that, I told the world, you guys got to stop judging Terrence Crawford at 147 and thinking he's Superman and that he'll be the same Terrence Crawford at 154. You're going to get a rude awakening, just like Jamel Charlo did. Jamel Charlo said, I was sluggish, I couldn't move, I couldn't respond, and I couldn't bring it into another gear. That's exactly the situation they're going to put my American fighter, Terrence Crawford, in against Saul. They're setting it up with two big names. They want you to be blind by their names, but they don't want you to look at what's really going on. Terrence Crawford has all the factors against him and not one factor on his side. He doesn't have the speed in this fight. He will not have the power.
Yes, he will.
Nah. Saul, we're talking about Iron Chin, Saul Canelo Alvarez, that fought upwards of 175. Upwards of 170. We don't have no information on Terrence Crawford past 154, and he has no power there.
We're not talking about power. I said speed.
Oh, okay. Saul came against a lot of guys with speed. Iron Chin Saul Canelo Alvarez has never, and I repeat, never taking a standing 8 count or been knocked down. He's been hit by Demetrius Bivol, bigger fighters, and Terrence's power will absolutely do nothing to Saul. And the only thing that Terrence got is skill. And at this point, you gave Saul Canelo Alvarez 11 years from the day he entered the ring with Floyd Mayweather. He's gotten 11 years better. He has 540 round experience to Terrence Crawford's 239 round experience. He knows how to manage a fight from the minute he fights one way, from round 1 to 2 to 3, from 4 to 6, and then he closes the show. Saul knows how to get up on the cards, manage a fight, and make you come through the front door. This is a setup. I don't like this fight in any way, and I feel like they're blinding us by the names just to defeat Terrence Crawford, because the powers that be, top ranking them, never really liked it, my man. And on the way out the door, they want to stick it to him, and they want to sell it to me and dress it up like this is a fair fight. This is not a fair fight, and I would rather see him unify at 154 than go up to 168 and also do what we're talking about. Like, if he wins the belt at 168, is he going to defend the titles at 168? Of course not. So why are you fucking with boxing? Why are you playing with these belts when there's men in the division that want a career? And you guys over here juggling these belts, fighting these other guys, but not in our division. Ask the men at 168 if they're happy that they're not getting a shot at Saul's belts. You know, this is another case where, what are you doing, Terrence Crawford? You're going to go to 168? And what if you win? Are you prepared to defend the 168 titles? Hell no. And let me tell you something right now. Before you get to Saul, do I really think that he could beat, let's say, just wipe down David the Monster Benavidez or David Morrell and or Demetrius Bivol? Do I think Terrence Crawford can beat Demetrius Bivol?
They're at 175 though.
Yeah, but listen, Saul shared the ring with him. And he couldn't beat Saul. He couldn't stop Saul. Yo, this is a setup. Terrence has absolutely no chance on winning this fight. The only way he can win was if you would have gave me a little bit younger version of Terrence Crawford, because if you would have gave me Terrence Crawford 8 years ago, where he was still switching from righty to lefty, he beat Saul. But even I said a year ago, Terrence lost a step. And I said that a year ago about Terrence, if I'm being honest. He lost a step. He's not the same fighter he was 6 years ago. Now, you put that fighter in the ring with Saul, he beat Saul. But he's going to be 38 years old. Like, you got to look at all the outside that they don't want you to look at. They're setting him up. This is a fucking drive-by. This is what it is.
Hey, we're gonna agree to disagree. I'm gonna pick Bud in that fight, but
oh yeah, I got Bud. I look. At the end of the day, I'll rock with Bud, but I know because I don't gamble. I'm not a broken fan that sits up here and is mad that I got my money, lost my money, and downing a fighter because I'm in my feelings because I gotta watch out for fucking Shorty and them because they're knocking on my door because I owe money. Okay, I speak just my facts and stuff. As far as my loyalty, I'm a rock with Terrence Crawford. But I just think this fight was too late in the making. I think that there's too much on the line. You went too far in your career, Terrence, to put it all on the line for one fight at the end like this, in a way. So I just wanted it to be more fair. What's so bad? Saul dropping down just one weight division and meeting him halfway. Make it a little fair. Fuck the belts. Fuck the belts. Let's just he doesn't really need those belts anyway. You come down a little bit more and I go a little bit up and let's make it just a little bit fair. Why do I have to sacrifice so much and go into your natural weight division where you're comfortable? I'm moving up to weight. Look you know how hard it is just to move up one weight division? Actually, Wilfredo Benitez. He moved up one and got destroyed. Right? So now you're asking him to do two.
Yeah.
And you're just going off, hey, fuck it. I know Terrence Crawford is skilled. That's not going to cut it for me. I need actual scenarios where you saw a man pull that off. And then you're not asking him to pull it off against any just average fighter. You're asking him to pull it off against Iron Chin, Saul Canelo Alvarez. That's who you're asking him to pull it off against. Arguably still a pound-for-pound fighter, whether you got him real low, but he might be like 8'6", but he's on the list.
I don't have him on my list at all.
No, me neither. He's not on my list neither. I just threw that in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but listen, man, it's all good. I mean,
yes.
The question was, do I like to fight? And I say, yeah.
Definitely.
Is he going to playing from behind? Yes, I agree with that. I still pick Crawford to do it, but how did we run around all this and not talk about, what the people wanted,
Right, exactly.
They asked me about Jankier Rivera, and I think Jankier Rivera is a phenomenal fighter, man. And I didn't ever get to answer your question about Xander Zayas, so let's go to Xander Zayas.
Let's do that. So what do you like about Xander Zayas? Do you think he's ready for the top 154 pounders today?
I think he's getting close. I don't think he's quite there. Let me just put this as on a barometer where maybe some people may understand me, man. If he was to fight, let's say Charles Conwell right now, I don't think he beats him. A year and a half, 2 years from now, it's a fight. You know what I'm saying? And because you got to understand, they brought him up. I watched him since before anybody knew who the hell he was. And I just felt like they brung him. I felt like they were bringing him up too slow, but then they started picking up the pace at a certain.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, now they're doing it. But did they pull the trigger a little bit too late? Because now you can't put him in to get certain fighters in there right now because I don't think he's ready. But that doesn't mean he can't win the fight.
Right.
Because
right.
When he stepped to Virgil Ortiz on Twitter or X, I'm like, hey, why did Virgil and them, want to look the other way? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he can be Virgil Ortiz right now. You know what I'm saying?
He's a big kid. Xander Zion's not a small kid by stature. Like, he's got a wide shoulders. He looks like it.
I've been to a billion venues with Xander Zayas.
Yeah.
I've sat in the same fucking front row with him before.
Yeah.
You know? And I love the kid, but so when I say that I don't think he beats Conwell right now, I'm not disrespecting the kid or shit.
No.
Like that.
I
know him. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I know them both actually, but I'm like, it's one was brung up a lot more faster. You know what I'm saying? Another one, I think Zayas has a chance against Lubin right now. Yes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Carlos said, I think that Xander Zion has a chance against Lubin. What do you think?
You know what? I do think he has a chance. You know what? It'd be another good fight. Another one. It would be once Jesus Ramos Jr. fights Jason Rosario. I believe that Xander should fight the winner of that.
The winner of that?
Yeah.
I was wondering if they were gonna make this fight right here another like title eliminator. Whoever wins this fight against Xander and Spooner, that they would get a shot at the title, whatever, But the division that they're in is just a murderous row of competition. And then you got guys coming back to the division like Jamel Charlo, which he was the undisputed champion. He wants his belts back. You got Errol Spence Jr. I think this is like the 5th time they're trying to make this Sebastian Fedora fight. I don't know what's going on with that, right? But you got some big names.
I believe Xander beats Fundora.
Huh?
Yes.
You got him beating Fundora, but losing to the other guy.
Yes.
Styles make fights, huh?
Yes, man. And the thing about Xander is, man, look, and Fundura's a good fighter, man. But the problem with Fundura is I don't never see anybody attacking that skinny body.
Xander can't get to it. He can't get to it. He's so damn tall. Hey, yo, puppy. The round starts, right? You're in your corner. It goes, ding. He snaps a jab. He's still in his corner from all the way up. Yeah. Te mete un puño de allá. Bing.
But I think Xander could cut in there enough to get to that body, though. I really believe that.
I think that Tim Tszyu was doing good to the body assault. He was working the body. He brought up some big shots from the body. I remember him broke his nose.
Tim Tszyu got cut and couldn't see no more, man. I mean, I go,
but
he was on his ass.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That was Tim Tszyu's corner's fault. They should have saved their fighter.
Yes, they should have.
That was their corners. If they didn't have that solution, I'm a hustler. If I was in the corner, there's 3 of us in the corner, right? A chief second, the cut man. I would have sent a guy with $200. Yo, go buy me one of those boxes that any of the cut men got at a boxing. They're always around. And give me that solution. You're not going to stop the bleeding because it was at the top. That's a bad hole. But you would have bought him some time. You'd have bought him a little bit less blood.
It's a rookie cut, man. It's a rookie.
Do your job. Save your fighter. They let him down, if you ask me.
It's a rookie cut, man, because, man, where I'm from, man, we put adrenaline into Vaseline, and when we put that shit on there, that bleeding stops, bro.
It stops.
Done.
But that's an old boxing trick and shit, and now we got the glue. We can seal that bitch right up in the corner.
Yeah, man.
Those days.
You can use both.
Listen, Amanda Serrano, when she had her eye like that, I was like, where the fuck is the cut man? We barely see any cuts like that anymore in boxing. You know why? Because they seal that shit up. And then if you buy your corner some time and you do the right thing and you protect that eye around the two, you can completely stop the bleed. It depends on, So, what's up, Frontline? Frontline says what? Xander defeats what? Fundora. Fundora doesn't like skills and beat Xander. Zion will get inside and beat him, towering down in the first floor. Wow. That's easier said than done.
I just agree with him, though. I think he could do it, man. I mean, Xander could do that. Styles make fights, and that's just a stylistic. It would be a stylistic nightmare for Fundora, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, you saw when Mendoza knocked him out, he came over the top and he hit Sebastian Fundora and he fell like a tree.
I picked that.
He did. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I swear to God.
No, you didn't. You did.
God, bro. Yes. And hey, that was on my old channel, and I made a live right after that, laughing, telling everybody, "I told you so. I told you so." That tall giraffe, I told you he was nothing.
I didn't think he was gonna beat him though. I didn't think he was gonna knock out Sebastian. I couldn't see that.
I could see Xander doing it too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I got a lot of high hopes for Xander Zion. You know, another Latin fighter that either you claim him on Monday and on Tuesday, then they don't claim him, which is Shakur Stevenson, a Puerto Rican fighter on Monday, and then he's not Puerto Rican on Tuesday. I don't know what's up with my man because on BoxRec, they claim him for Puerto Rican champions when you look it up. And then on another website, they don't claim him. So I got to see which are they are what's up with Shakur, because is he Latin or not? What's going on? And like,
you know, his dad's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, we know that, you know, but
I mean, I don't know. That's really up to them, I guess.
Yeah, because right now when I go up to Wikipedia, right, Puerto Rico has current date 64 world champions, and the last ones being Subriel Matias and Oscar Collazo being added to the list, you know, as Puerto Rican champions, and then we have female champions, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, but like fighters like Camacho. Fun fact. Hector Camacho has a belt in 7 weight divisions, right? But he only has real world titles in 3. He has in the other 4, he has minor belts in the other 4 weight divisions, but he did fight in 7 weight divisions. And I find that sometimes, you know, people don't know that and shit because they only count his 3 real divisions with the belts as such, you know, as one of the Latin fighters and stuff. But let me tell you, let me read some of these chats and see what some of these guys are saying. Carlos says, I give Xander a 12-year round fight. Listen, thank you for bringing that up. That's what I was thinking, that young Xander Zion is missing, 12-round fight experience. This fight right now with Spooner is only a 10-round fight, and he's never had a 12-round fight scheduled. And I think championship round experience is what's needed in a young man's career. And I think that's how Loma beat Jermaine Ortiz. When Loma came in that fight with Jermaine Ortiz had no 12-round experience. All of a sudden, they made that fight 12-round fight. It's not a title eliminator, and it's not for a world title. That was real odd for me that they made that fight a 12-round fight. But Loma knew that if he dragged Jermaine Ortiz into the deeper waters, he would win the fight in the championship rounds, and that's exactly what he did. You know, so that's that I speak about Xander Zion. How do you you know, we talked, you said yes, that he does need more experience, a little bit better, a year or so, you figure, and I'm in agreement with you.
You see that on the side? You ain't got to put it up if you don't want to. Look at
What's
that. That's me and Xander. That's me and Xander right there.
Where? I don't see it.
You don't see it? I'm sharing the screen thing over there.
Nah, it doesn't share it on my end. Nah, I can't see it.
You should be able to see it.
Oh, hold up. I got somebody else in the chat right now joining us. Let me bring him up.
That's it.
Oh, that's it right there. Oh, that's you. Okay, yeah, that's it right there. Huh? Who's those 2 good-looking men right there? Young Xander Zion. Yeah, where was that at?
We was in Orlando right there.
In Orlando?
Orlando, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Let me see these ones. Oh, okay.
I'll show you. I'm gonna show you. I'll show you. That's. Let me see. Let me pull up the Amanda Serrano ones, man. Hold on.
Oh, that's a nice one right there.
Yeah, that's Jordan, Amanda. These are she used to be one of the MMA fighters. I think she was trying to get boxing, and then this was just a good friend of mine. We was at IHOP over here eating breakfast and shit.
Right.
Took a picture outside of there and all that. But yeah, man, that's why I was telling you that when I talk about Xander, I don't, I've been to plenty of places.
Yeah. Yep.
I say it from a good place and stuff like that, man. But yeah, right. I agree that it needs to get some rounds in. But
yep.
I think he could. his conditioning is not a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
His, you could put 12, you can go back to 15 rounds, he could do them. He
Yeah.
could do it. That's just, I live down here in Florida. I've seen it.
Right.
The way he trains is,
Yeah.
he's not going to have no issues with his gas tank, man. The
No.
4-rounder thing is just going to be for so people to be satisfied. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Well,
But
well, 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 when it comes to training, my experience fighting and stuff, when it comes to training, you could always train and condition yourself, but there's moments what we call boxing situations. And, you can be in the 10th round. It's not like sparring or training. You could be behind in the moment. You could be hurt. You got to know how to be in these moments, not let doubt creep into your mindset. Stay with the notion what boxing's about. You are here to assist me on whooping your ass. That's what you're here for. I'm going to whoop your ass. You're here to assist me. That's it. And you got to keep your wits about yourself. And that's kind of what I talk about Xander Zion's it's just boxing things. How does he respond? And look, how does a fighter respond for the first time going down? Did your head go to your girlfriend in the crowd that's watching you? Did you start thinking about everybody making memes already? Where are you at in your head in the fight? Do you got the mental fortitude to keep it together? And we'll only not those are questions I'll only know when the time is right. That's not something that I can work out in a gym. Some of this is hard work, but the other half is experience. And the only way you can get that is get into a fight. And with every fight, you learn more and more and more. And those are the experience situations that I talk about, young Xander Zion. Absolutely. We are on the same
yeah,
page. I
I'm
feel like, yeah.
now. I'm
Huh?
gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you
Yeah.
a question now.
Yes.
What do you think about Carlos Ortiz from the old days?
Which Carlos Ortiz are you talking about?
Puerto Rican boxer.
Okay, which Carlos Ortiz again? There's like
man.
There is a lot.
All right, hold on.
Bam Bam says, didn't Brian Norman Jr. become champion before going 12 rounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are guys that have gotten titles before going 12 rounds. Yeah. But it's always good to know sometimes and put your fighter in those situations, Bam. Like, just to see if Xander Zion, but like my man here, like he personally knows Xander Zion and he knows he can go the 12 rounds.
Ortiz. I'm gonna even put his box rack up, man, from way back when.
Who's?
Carlos Ortiz. Same place that you saw the other thing.
Carlos Ortiz is the Puerto Rican fighter from Puerto Rico. I think you're talking about the legend Carlos Ortiz. I think that arguably.
I'm sharing the screen again.
Okay, I got it. Here we go. 61-7. What does he got for losses there? I can't see it. He's got 30 knockouts.
Yep. 61-7 and one draw, 30 knockouts.
It's a pretty good record for Puerto Rican standards of that era. I think probably like my grandfather's fighters, they would probably revere him more than me. And I understand that those are the men that paved the way for our new ones. Mostly my generation, brother. It's not. I don't even. I guess I don't have a Puerto Rican fighter in standards of being dominant. I think I like him probably for what he did for me as a kid, and it's got to be fighters like Hector Camacho.
I knew Hector too.
It just look. Let me tell you something. I can remember, right? There was a time when I was like 12, 14 years old, and we would hang around with the brothers in the neighborhood, and the white dudes would say, "You're trying to act black." And then we would hang around with the white dudes, and then the black dudes would say, "You're trying to act white." So as a Puerto Rican back then, I didn't really have an identity. I didn't know what I was. I was in a world where I felt that when they would ask me, "What are you?" and I would say Puerto Rican, they was like, "Well, what is that?" So in a time where I felt like in that era, there wasn't a lot of us, so to speak, in my neighborhood. These kind of fighters provided me with the confidence of walking out my house being proud of being Puerto Rican. And what they gave to me as a kid was much more than just their record. It was me walking around my neighborhood saying, Puerto Ricans are not weak. We are also fighters. We're also tough. You know, when we're getting ganged up on by all the kids in the neighborhood and asking us of who we are. And these were the kind of fighters that made me believe in myself. You know,
so give you that homework, man, because I wish, you know, you need a you don't need to, but I mean, it'd be nice if you go check out the history of Carlos.
Oh, yes, absolutely. No,
it's a very good one, man. And man, that one of them gloves back there that you see in that corner.
Yes, really.
Ortiz signed, yes.
No,
sir.
He didn't,
bro. I swear, bro.
Yeah,
man.
Oh, that's awesome, bro. Don't get rid of that. Wow. That's nice. That you should send that to me if I can put it up here. Listen, yo, check it out, brother. Look at this one. You see this? Check this out. This is the Ringside magazine with Rumble in the Jungle, Muhammad Ali, and George Foreman. The actual Ringside magazine is in here.
Wow, that's nice.
The actual magazine is in there. And then I got like my Ali boxing figure. He doesn't come out the box. That's a collectible. It stays right there, you know. But yeah,
the girl above that was signed by Mike Tyson.
Huh? The other one?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Don't say that, bro. I'm about to go to your house now.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Poster next to that's Fresno Kendo. He wrote a special note on there for me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I got Mike right here. Mike's right there. If he's right there. There's Mike right there. See Mike?
Hey,
Mike,
man,
that's Mike. That's my dude. But yeah, man. Puerto Rico, like as Puerto Rico history goes, Puerto Rico boxing started like in World War I and the prohibition things, and the commanders had the guys fighting and stuff, and we have a rich culture. But I really believe that you can't talk about boxing unless you talk about Latin fighters, all Latin fighters. We have a staple in boxing, and you know, we have a rich culture, and I love it. I love it. It builds for excitement for me. I love the rivalries. I love the competition. And I also love to see my favorite fighter venture up the ranking system and bring us home a world title. There's nothing like that for me. That's why I love boxing. That's why I watch boxing. I watch it for those oh wow moments and those butterflies in my stomach that when I'm watching my favorite fighter walk to the ring, I'm like, let's go, baby. You know, and it gives me an outlet, you know, to see fighting, you know. So yeah, absolutely.
Listen, man, I'm gonna have to get running, man, because you know, I come on here just to have a dialogue with you, but I get up so early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm usually sleeping by now.
Right. I work late night. I go to work at 12:30. So yeah, so Cano, listen, man, thank you for stopping by. Give me a call. I want to hook up with you in the boxing world, and maybe we can exchange some boxing things, man. And I'm a student to the game, and I'm always willing to learn from someone else that's been around much longer than me in the game. Brother, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I can't wait to pick your mind in boxing, and you share and educate me and teach me in this world of boxing that I strive to get better every day in.
From each other. We learn from each other.
Absolutely. And that's what I aim to do. And I strive to do that every day and get better. So, Carlos, listen, thank you again. Let the fighting fans know where they can find you. If
they know where to find me. Cano Loco TV.
All right, Cano Loco TV. You heard it. Here he is, Cano Loco. Thank you, everybody that joined the live stream. Everybody that joined. Thank you. Please don't forget to give these videos a like. Subscribe to the channel, and like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Cano, my man. Thank you for stopping by.
Salute, bro.
Good night, people.